Welcome, Sens Talk.
Here comes Smith with a pass across. Oh, he scores! He bats it in! Tim Stutzler wins it for Ottawa. Mitchell Grant is going to put the finishing touches on an Ottawa win. See you later. Go Sens, go!
Welcome to Sens Talk. My name is Brandon Plant, and I am your host. We have some breaking news coming out of the nation's capital, as Steady Steve Staios has done it again, as he has extended Senators defenseman, the Klev Dog K-Train, Tyler Kleven, to a 2-year contract extension for $1.6 million per year at $3.2 million in total for the 2-year extension. Welcome back, Klev Dog, baby. The K-Train is back. Let's go. Steady Steve Staios does it again with another great team-friendly deal, and this is a fair deal for both sides. The Senators obviously get a team-friendly deal here, so it gives them, as we'll talk about later in the video, a lot of room to work with this summer to retain the guys they want to retain and bring in some new guys as well. So a lot of roster flexibility comes with a team-friendly deal such as this. But more so for Tyler Kleven, he's also setting himself up for a nice payday down the road. He knew he was not going to get a massive payday in the next year or two here with Ottawa. You got Chabot, you got Sanderson on that left side. Kleven knows that. His agent knows that. The Sanders management knows that. But what this allows Kleven to do and the Sens management to do is see how the next year and two go and go from there. If Kleven plays himself out of being able to be retained by Ottawa, that, elevating to that top 4 role that I think he could potentially fill. If he can't fill it here, he'll certainly be able to fill it somewhere else. So he sets himself up for that. But also for the Ottawa Senators, they have the opportunity here to play this the way they want to play it. With Tyler Kleven, this is a guy that I think is only going to get better and better and better, as we'll talk about in this video. He's only gotten better every single time he stepped on that National Hockey League ice. But what this allows the Sens to do is reevaluate. Even next year, after the next year, at this time, a year from now, they will be able to extend Tyler Kleven to more years if they would like. So this is basically a good deal for both sides because, again, you're getting a team-friendly deal. Kleven's getting a deal where he gets millions of dollars. I'm sure he's fine with that. Continues to develop there in an everyday NHL role. And then in a year or two from now, we'll see if Kleven continues to develop. Chabot, we'll talk. I mean, this is a future conversation, but Chabot's not getting any younger. Sanderson's certainly not going anywhere. So you're going to have to make that decision. Does Kleven stay? When eventually, I think, again, he will be a top 4 defenseman in the future. So when he gets to that, what happens with Chabot? So you'll have to decide that. But more so, again, this kind of, once again, just allows them to stay with one another, keep the relationship going, and then a year or two from now, see how Kleven's development continues, and then make more of a long-term decision then. It's kind of like the Shane Pinto contract, right? Where when Shane Pinto extended, it was only for a couple of years. We all know what Shane Pinto is, but we didn't really know where he was going to slot in. There was a question with Norris and whatnot. Well, Norris was traded, Cousins was brought in. Now we're kind of seeing Pinto in top 6 conversations. Just saying. So a lot can change in a year. So basically, again, and we'll talk about Tyler Kleven as a player and the cap situation and his pairing and everything in between. So much to break down. But again, this deal really just allows the Ottawa Senators to keep a very, very strong player on their team. A player that brings a lot to the team that no one really else on the team, especially in the back end, brings. That being physicality and whatnot. And more so, one of your top young prospects that you've developed through the years, you want to keep that guy around and continue to develop him as he steps into that next phase of his career, and that's exactly what this does. Again, that's what a bridge deal is, right? That's what a bridge deal is. So I love the deal purely because I saw this being a bridge deal all the way. When we were talking about a potential extension at the end of the season, it was pretty obvious. Again, with Chabot and Sanderson there, Kleven knows he needs to continue to play his game, continue to get more reps in the National Hockey League and build more of a resume for himself. And then a couple of years from now, when he continues to hopefully improve and prove that he deserves more of a payday, he'll get that payday. And that gives the Ottawa Senators, again, time to figure out what they want to do in that situation and figure out how they want to line up on the blue line in the future. Again, I think Tyler Kleven is a guy that can play top 4 minutes, and I think we might even see that at some points this season. But certainly at some point in this contract, he'll be playing top 4 minutes, in my opinion. Just kind of depends on where. Now with that, I want to get into a couple of things on the cap. The Sens have $15 million left to extend Claude Giroux and Fabian Zetterlund. So assuming those two guys are signed, they still clearly, and we'll talk about this later, have a lot of cap space to play with. So again, yeah, Tyler Kleven, I think a lot of people were more than fine with $2 million for 2 years. So this is a bit of a pay cut, to be honest with you. So again, you take a bit of a pay cut now if you're Tyler Kleven for the payday later on. He's betting on himself, and I absolutely love and respect when players do that. But don't get it twisted. He's still making millions of dollars. He's more than happy, I'm sure. Now let's talk about the player that is Tyler Kleven. So as you all know, Tyler Kleven is a big boy. He's 6'4", 204 pounds. This year with the Ottawa Senators, he played in nearly every single game, 79 to be exact, averaging just under 15 minutes of ice time, putting up 10 points, including 4 goals. And on those goals, you just see a hammer of a shot. My goodness, this guy could fire that puck into the back of the net. 104 hits as well. I mean, this guy throws around the body like he's a wrecking ball. 97 blocks as well. So Tyler Kleven is a guy that is going to put his body on the line in many, many different ways. He won't contribute, 40, 50, 60, 70 points, but he's a guy that once in a while can put the puck in the back of the net because he has a hell of a shot. And more so, he's a great skater as well. So you mix all that in, and he's a very, very effective, already shutdown defenseman. And again, you can never have enough shutdown defensemen, right? Especially when they're young. They're only getting better. They were drafted by you. They love Ottawa, as he said before. So, and obviously he does, right? So, this is a guy that the Sens developed themselves, and now they're enjoying the fruits of their labor, right? And in his career, again, he had a little bit of a stint just before the past year. 96 career NHL games, 19 average on ice time. He had 3 points before last season. And then as you can see, the physicality, that's always been there as the hits and the blocks increase even in that 20-game sample size. So Tyler Kleven is an absolute dog. The Klev dog, as we love to call him, as I love to call him especially. But for a guy this big, he's very mobile. Look at your screen right now. He is not afraid to target somebody and knock him down. Cleanly, of course, but not afraid to throw around the body, that's for sure. But he's so effective in his skating as well. His positioning on these hits and just in general in his own zone, he's able to use his body to push guys out. And that is so necessary if you're a defenseman. I know that sounds cliche and obvious, but it's true. A lot of defensemen get beat because they don't know how to use their body. Tyler Kleven, at a young age, not even 100 games under his belt, already knows how to do that. So again, that's why I'm so high on a player like this. When a player is a good skater, loves to use his physical ability, and is good at using that physical ability, he's not just going out of position to throw around hits. He's strategic in his hits and his physical play. Well, you got a fantastic player. That's for sure. And I mentioned it in my conversation with Dean Brown when we were wrapping up the season, and check out that interview, by the way, great interview with the legendary voice of the Ottawa Senators. We both agreed, and Steos and Travis Green also said he didn't have a good training camp, and he didn't. He did not impress. And the big reason why he made the Ottawa Senators out of training camp is because of necessity. That's what Dean Brown said. That's what I agree with, and I think he would probably, agree. But as the season went on, Tyler Kleven just got better and better and better. And it got into the point where in the playoffs, he was a key player playing just under 16 minutes of ice time. He logged a couple of assists as well. He was so effective, so necessary, and integral to the Ottawa Senators, in the playoffs, because the playoffs are a different animal. It's a physical style of play. And if you don't have a physical defenseman, you're going to get beat. And, obviously we lost in the first round, but Kleven was able to bring some of that physical edge to the blue line that the Ottawa Senators certainly were lacking, especially against a team like the Toronto Maple Leafs, who had a couple of bruisers on the blue line, right? So you need that, and Kleven is exactly that. So as the year went on, he only got better and better and better. And I think, it was a bit of a wake-up call, having such a tough training camp. And I think it clearly woke him up, because Tyler Kleven in NCAA was a dog. Okay, that was the only time where I was like, I expected more. Because every other time throughout his career so far, since being drafted by the Ottawa Senators, I have been impressed. And what's really impressive to me is the character he showed to take, that stuff on the chin, take, frankly, a not great, training camp, build off of that, learn from it, and improve and get better and better and better. Some players would just sulk. Some players would just, just collapse, right? But no, he built from it, got stronger from it. So a lot of people are like, oh, well, he's inconsistent. No. This is a guy that learned from his mistakes, and that is true character right there. And as we all know, the Ottawa Senators certainly love character. Now, before I continue on and talk about what this means for the Ottawa Senators, their cap space, the third pairing, everything in between, I want to say thank you to Dylan Puckniak for sponsoring Sens Talk, as Sens Talk is proudly presented by Dylan Puckniak, Ottawa's exclusive realtor, with Keller Williams Sports and Entertainment, providing a bilingual real estate service that serves the Ottawa-Gatineau community. Dylan Puckniak is also specialized in supporting professional athletes that come and go in our city, providing service that takes care of the people at the highest level. For realtor experience puts you and your needs first. Visit dylanpuckniak.kw.com. That is dylanpuckniak.kw.com to find out more today. Again, thank you to Dylan Puckniak and Keller Williams Sports and Entertainment for sponsoring Sens Talk. So, with Nicholas Ban and Paolo also locked up for a couple of years, the two combined for $2.4 million for the next 2 years for your third pairing. Beautiful. That is unbelievable, man. That is so good. And with the cap going up, it's only going to look better and better and better. So, shout out to you, Steve Stamkos. I mean, honestly, that is some tidy piece of work right there. In the last couple weeks, you locked up your third pairing for at least the next couple of years on a very cost-effective rate at that. That is, I think, the not spoken about enough part of this story here with, the Kleven extension is the fact that that pairing is making less than some defensemen make on the third pairing for other teams combined. So that is very impressive, and that will certainly help the Ottawa Senators out in the next couple of years as they push for more than just making the playoffs, right? And look to make even that next step by bringing in some assets. They're going to have the space to be able to do that. Now, I wanted to mention this as well. It was all over Twitter. A lot of people are chiming in on this. And a lot of people criticized Pierre Dorion for trading picks number 59 and 64 to move up to 44 to draft Kleven in the 2020 NHL draft, which frankly might be, if not is, I think it is, the best draft in Senators franchise history. Kleven's a big part of that too, of course. And a lot of people were very, very critical of Dorion for doing so. But the two Leafs that were drafted with the picks we traded to Toronto, Hervonen and Nemela, have not played NHL games. Meanwhile, Tyler Kleven is only going to get better and better and is seen by many, including myself, as a guy that could be a top 4 shutdown defenseman. I don't know about you. I make that trade 10 out of 10 times. And I got to give credit where credit is due to Pierre Dorion for another stellar draft decision. And again, it really does suck that he was kind of handcuffed when he was here with Ottawa and he just didn't have any help, because his scouting mind, and when it comes to prospects, it's impressive for the most part. Again, Brandstrom was a bit of a miss, obviously, and there was external factors into that. But again, overall, when it comes to the drafting and everything, pretty impressed by Pierre Dorion. And yeah, again, I think he deserves some credit for that, honestly. I really do. And a big part of this core is because of Pierre Dorion and that scouting team. And that's why, as I said in my last video when we're talking about scouts and stuff with the Sam Gagner news and whatnot, the Sens need to hire more scouts, especially in Europe. Anyways, that's another story. Maybe I'll even put out a video just for that. But again, this is proof, right? When you have good scouting, you find good players, and Tyler Kleven is one of those players, right? So with that, last thing I'll mention, the Senators let's just imagine Giroux signs for $3 to $4 million, which is what is expected, and Zetterlund gets roughly $2 million. That will leave the Ottawa Senators with, give or take, $8 to $9 million in cap space. You got plenty of room to bring in another defenseman, especially at a cost-effective rate, because again, I'm sure you can find a guy for a bit of a steal. There's always a couple of defensemen that make a little less than people are expecting for $3 to $4 million. You can find that. But you also can find for $4 to $5 million, just roughly estimating, a top 6 winger, whether it's through a trade, whether it's through free agency. And we'll just leave it at that, because I'm going to put out a video on Thursday or Wednesday, probably Thursday though, taking a look at, and that video is supposed to come out today, by the way. But that's okay, because Tyler Kleven is more important right now, that's for sure. And shout out to the Klev Dog, no doubt about that. But on Thursday, we're going to take a look at a little Brock Besser action and whether or not he fits with the Ottawa Senators. I'll leave it at that, though, and we'll talk about that on Thursday. But there's a little sneak peek for all of you that have stuck it out through the end of this video. But with that, thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you like this deal? Are you not a fan of this deal? Again, personally, I am, for a multitude of reasons. It's cost effective for the team. It allows them to do more this summer. Tyler Kleven has the potential to be a top 4 defenseman, and this gives the Ottawa Senators the ability to reevaluate just in a year from now and go from there. Again, you don't want to lock down guys for 4, 6, 7, whatever years, and then they don't pan out. We've seen that not work out here in Ottawa. So this is a fair deal for both sides that allows both sides to get something out of it on the next contract. So with that, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And with that, I will see you all Thursday. Talk about a little Brock Besser action. With that, I'll see you all soon. Go Sens, go.